Why is it so dang hard to get into medical school? You just want to go help save people's lives, and they make you jump through all these hoops to even get an interview into a medical school. Well, I think I know the answer why, and there's some complications that occur with all this competitiveness. Hey guys, my name is Abhinav. I'm an incoming MS1, and I post a lot of videos about how to get into medical school, some tips and tricks on your MCAT and application, and I'll soon be posting a lot of day in the life videos, vlog types, going through my journey through medical school. Since I'm in the MD PhD program, that involves a lot of variations that you might not see with other people. So if you want to see a lot of that, please do like and subscribe to my channel. I'll be posting a lot in the upcoming weeks, and you don't want to miss it. So I'm here on this website from medschoolinsiders.com, and they go through why it might be a little hard to get into medical school. And we all know that medical school, it can be competitive. In fact, it is competitive. It's one of the most competitive specialities, jobs out there right now. Others include like law and business and marketing. But the reason why it's so hard to get into medical school is that there's only a 40% success rate. What does that mean? Well, out of 53,000 applications, only about 21,600 got accepted and matriculated into medical school. Matriculated just means they chose a school and they're going to attend it. And this is incredibly crazy. Only 40% of applicants get accepted. Well, it might not be that crazy, as a lot of people that do apply might not actually be qualified. And qualified just means that they aren't that sufficient in understanding biological concepts and critical thinking, as well as not being actually motivated to become a doctor. Becoming a physician is a full-time job plus more. It requires a lot of patience and endurance, and it also requires a lot of agility through analyzing lots of data in a short amount of time and coming up with decisions that will affect people's lives in a big way. So, when you see this statistic as 40% only accepted, that is kind of concerning, but it also makes sense. But it's not the entire story. And the real concern that this brings to me is that there's currently a physician shortage. They kind of mention it down here, as there's a shortage by 2030, there's going to be a significant shortage in physicians across especially the US. And why might this be? Well, we come over to here from a website called Statista, and they outline the population of the entire US by sex and age as of July 1st, 2019. But this gives a clear understanding of where our population is at the moment. As you can see, the biggest population is between 25 to 29-year-olds. But there's a whole lot of people here. You see this second bump right here? That's the concerning part. The people between 50 and about 70. These people require much more care statistically than younger people. But what's concerning is that these people are getting older, and as you can see below 25 to 29, there's a downtrend. What does this mean? That as these people get older, people over here coming into the age of learning and becoming physicians is going to be less. And what does that mean? Well, there's going to be less physicians treating a bigger population of people. And that's an immediate warning sign. What's even more is that there's going to be a more significant, drastic difference between socioeconomic statuses going forward. We already see that now. The rich are becoming richer and the poor are becoming poorer. Unfortunately, that's how it is in America, and things really need to change on a legislative level. But what that means when becoming a physician is that there's less and less physicians available to treat these lower socioeconomic status populations. And what does that mean? Well, that just means that there's going to be a lot more death, a lot more care that's just not as adequate, and it's really concerning in the future. So what really needs to change is that there needs to be more involvement by larger groups, especially the government, to promote people that being a physician is a great lifestyle, but also a great way to help the community, both physically and mentally, and just economically as well, for the future of humanity, if you want to make it that drastic. But I want to go into what the AAMC publishes in terms of applicants versus matriculants. So the AAMC posts this about every year, and they post the mean and standard deviation from the past 4 years in the MCAT and GPAs. So this is for applicants, as you can see down here, total applicants. So in the applicants, the scores of the MCAT generally range from 125 to 126 in all the sections, and you actually see a slight bump up in 2019 2020. But overall, the MCAT mean and standard deviation revolves around a 504 to a 506, and the standard deviation remains pretty constant. And when you talk about GPAs, the total GPA here hovers around a 3.57-ish, and the standard deviation remains pretty constant. And you can see that there's a total of 51,000 applicants in 2017-2018, but there's 2,000 more applicants in 2020-2021. Well, that means that there's more applicants coming in every year, which is a good sign. But when you scroll down to matriculants, here you see total matriculants, the amount of total matriculants doesn't increase that much. It goes from 21,000 in 2017-2018 to only 22,000 in 2020-2021. That just means that there's less matriculants going in every year compared to how many applicants are applying every year. And you can see that the GPA is much higher at 3.71, 3.72, and the total MCAT is 510, 511. And this is pretty common for an MD. I've been stressing this a lot in my previous videos of what kind of MCAT score you should look for. And you should try to get above a 511, because guess what? That's what the mean is, 511. And it's not going to go down anytime soon. What do I mean by that? Well, if you come into this chart right here, you could see that the MCAT score has been increasing over the past while now. It used to be much easier to get into med school with a lower MCAT score. You needed a 508 in 2016-2017, but then when you come to 2020-2021, it's a 511. That means that people are becoming more competitive in their nature when becoming an applicant towards medical school. And you can see that even though the mean MCAT score for everyone that takes the MCAT is still a 500, which they make in order to standardize everyone onto a bell curve, the typical applicant is in the 75th percentile at a 507 to 508 plus. But in order to even get accepted, you should try to aim around the 511 and above. And that's difficult. And here's a much bigger chart that actually does a pretty cool analysis of acceptance rate. And what they show is that if you get above a 3.79 and you get that 510 to 511 score between 510 and 513, you have a 73% chance of getting accepted to med school. That's not a 100% chance, that's a 73% chance. And as you get higher scores, it goes to 80 and then 86. And if you have a GPA above 3.79 and all the applicants combined together, there's a 64.6% chance you'll get into med school. So, and if you get a 510 to 513, there's a 60% chance of getting to med school. Well, if you combine every single applicant together, there's that 42% statistic, as was in the first article here, where they said only 40%, 42%. So that matches up pretty well. And this is kind of scary. This isn't to discourage you from not applying to med school. Please do apply if you're thinking about applying. But just know that I actually did not get into med school my first time around. I got into my med school second time around. First time around, it was disheartening. I felt very defeated. But it's crazy to think that I was part of that 60% that didn't get into med school. And this 40% is also concerning because if med schools don't start accepting more people or more med schools don't start opening up, then this 40%, even if applicants start increasing but the number of seats stay the same, that's going to start decreasing and we're going to get into a bigger physician shortage. And all of this is to say that you should definitely apply to med school and definitely become as competitive as you can be in order to become the best applicant you can, to show that med schools that you are willing to become a physician and take on the lifestyle that will help save people's lives at the end of the day. And with that, that's about it. Please do like and subscribe. I would love to talk about more of these statistics going on in the future about becoming a physician. And if you do like to see that, please comment below and let me know what other future topics you want me to talk about. Other than that, have a great day, and I'll see you next time.